rather well known for its acoustic design for the soundproofing, because from within the concert halls you actually can't hear any outdoor noise. So you never hear the streetcars or the sirens or even the subway that runs under University East. Now actually, you might be able to see there are some flower planters along the edge of the road. Just on the other side of those planters is considered American soil. So, tidbit, in case you've ever wanted to be in two places at once, you can put one foot on either side of that border. You can be in Canada and the United States at the same time. Now just at the top of the island on the left here is another monument. This is the Canadian Airmen's Award. It's dedicated to Canadian pilots and airmen who served during the First and Second World Wars and who were awarded the Victoria Cross, which is a very prestigious award. You may have noticed there are quite a few different insurance companies set up around here. This part of University Avenue is known as Insurance Row, which is ironically but very conveniently located right next to Hospital Row. So coming up on the right side, to give you an idea of some of their accomplishments, this is where pablum was invented, which is baby cereal, and it's also where the first successful separation of conjoined twins took place. Also, for anyone who's interested in the black and white silent films, Mary Pickford, a Canadian actress, used to have her homestead here. When the hospital came, they did demolish the home, but there are still some monuments around the grounds to remember her. Over to the left is Mount Sinai Hospital, which is where over half of Toronto's babies are born, and they specialize in women's and infant care. Also on the left is the Princess Margaret Hospital, specializing in cancer care and cancer research. And back to the right is Toronto General Hospital, which is the busiest hospital in Toronto, but also very well known for their cardiac care. Toronto General is actually where the first double heart and lung transplant was performed, and also where insulin was first used as a treatment for diabetes. So all four of these hospitals are connected by an underground pathway. It's separate from the path that I mentioned on Yonge Street, but they are connected to facilitate the transfer of patients. Also, Sick Kids Hospital has a helipad, so anyone that's flown in here will have immediate access to John A. Macdonald, who was Canada's first Prime Minister back in 1867. Queen's Park is where the Ontario Legislative Assembly is held, so all of our provincial politicians work here. It is rumored, though, that at one time the grounds here were actually grounds for a hospital for the mentally insane. So, depending on your political views, some people say that not much has changed since then. Now as we come around the back, if you have a look at the building at the back, you'll notice it's a slightly different color from the one at the front. That's because the original structure here burned down, and this one was redesigned by none other than Mr. E.J. Lennox, that lovely gentleman who put all of the rats and gargoyles up at Old City Hall. And this is the main street running through U of T campus. Ahead to the right is a gray building with some funny symbols on the side. This is the Lashmiller Chemistry Laboratory, and those symbols represent elements. This is rather well known in Hollywood because several Hollywood films have been made here, including Good Will Hunting, The Incredible Hulk, Mean Girls, and In a New York Minute. They've all been made at Knox College. Toronto is often referred to as Hollywood North because so many of their films are made here. There are two main reasons for this. The first, of course, it's much cheaper to film in Toronto than it is to film in Hollywood. The second reason, though, is that Toronto has quite a lot of diverse architecture, so it's rather easy to make the city look like lots of different places around the world. Chinatown, Koreatown, Greektown, Little Italy, Little India, Little Pakistan, Little Portugal, just to name a few. So if you are interested in different ethnic cuisine or cultural events, Toronto is an excellent place to find them. Now, I know that around here it doesn't look too much like Chinatown, but I do have some proof for you. So as we come to the next stop, you can have a look to the street signs out to the left or right side of the bus, and under the English names Baldwin and Beverly, there are Chinese characters as well. So this part of Toronto is where the Italian immigrants had originally settled. This used to be Little Italy, but thanks to improving economic circumstances, they were able to move to a different part of town. However, when they left, they forgot to take something with them. So out to the right-hand side, conveniently located here in Chinatown, is the Italian. At the corner on the right is the Black Bull Tavern. This was almost Toronto's oldest serving tavern, but they did have to close for a period of time, so they don't have this title, but it's still a very popular place to be, especially for the large outdoor patio that they offer. Shoe Tavern. Now, I know that it doesn't look too legendary, I know, but there is a good reason for its name. There's a tradition started here in the 1970s where every once in a while a very famous band will show up and they play a secret free concert for whoever the lucky customers happen to be. So the tradition was started by the Rolling Stones. It was continued by the Tragically Hip, the Bare Naked Ladies, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers, to name a few. Now along this part of Queen Street West is where you can find the textile section. So if you're interested in making your own fashions, you can find all of the materials to do so. There are places that specialize in selling beads, fabrics, ribbons, anything of that kind. This is also where you can find some of the up-and-coming local designers. The rent is a little more affordable here, so they're trying to establish their independent businesses. Now, if you do decide to go out later to a pub or a restaurant, something you want to watch for is the pass sign. And this is a green and white sign the size of a sheet of paper. You can see it in the corners of Epicure here or Bangkok Paradise. And any place you see this basically. And in case you guys are wondering about my funny headdress, these are my hippo ears. My sister made them for me. Out to the left there is Ontario Place, which is an amusement park. Ontario Place was built in the 1970s on a man-made island. The reason it's down here by the water is simply to encourage more visitors to come to the waterfront. To come down Ontario. Just beside it there is the CN Tower. The CN Tower used to be the tallest freestanding structure in the world. But unfortunately we no longer have that title because there is a much taller structure in Dubai now. However, on a technicality, we do still have a title portion. So if you'd like to learn about some of Toronto's local brews, this is a great place to start your learning experience.